here's another book completely devoted to low kicks. Hi guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel I review martial arts books and I talk about other martial arts related subjects. The subject of today's book review is No Holds Barred Fighting, the Kicking Bible from 2008. Now, this is actually the 7th in the No Holds Barred library. I've chosen it to review it in order number 4 because the last one I reviewed was Savage Strikes, and I consider this sort of an addendum or an add-on to that. The author is Mark Hatmaker. Mr. Hatmaker's specialty is researching historical Western martial arts and sort of modernizing them. So a lot of his No Holds Barred stuff was basically based on like old school bare knuckle pugilism combined with modern training methods, or old school catch wrestling style holds and stuff like that. Now we begin with an introduction that gives Mr. Hatmaker's justification for focusing on low kicks. And a lot of this comes down to they're easier to throw and they don't compromise one's balance, which is necessary for, combat. I have a little bit of like behind the scenes information on this. Around this time period, I was actually traveling a few times a year to train with Mr. Hatmaker. And I remember him announcing, in one of our training sessions that this, not really announcing, but saying that, I've got to do a book on kicking. I'm not a big fan of kicks, but this is what my publisher wanted me to do, so I'm going to do it. And you can see with a lot of his material, it's not something he takes as much pleasure in as the wrestling and the submissions and the boxing aspects and stuff like that. But again, his focus was on low kicks, and you can see that through all of his other works. The highest level of kick he throws to is about waist level in this. Also in this introductory section, we get his views on training protocols. He prefers to use a live body over static targets, if at all possible. He does emphasize training safely. You don't just start like whipping your leg at somebody else's leg. But, start at a 5. Make sure everybody's agreed to a 5. The first two proper chapters, chapter 1 is on stance, and he gives like 12 bullet points of, a good proper stance. And that is followed by, the second chapter, which is on footwork, contains what you'd probably expect, sort of your cardinal direction movements. But he also includes things like pivoting and also shifting. Shifting is what in Eastern martial arts might be referred to as lunging, going from having your right leg forward to having your left leg forward, for example. The third chapter is where we get into the kicking techniques to begin with. This is on distance kicks. This is important because he has other types of kicks listed throughout the book. This is the largest chapter. I think it's about 40 pages. It includes several entries for your standard like low round kick, different types of footwork and things like that. What's interesting to me here is that among the variations he's showing ankle kicks, which the outside version would be seen as a calf kick, which is sort of a new thing in the MMA world, so he was a bit prescient in that regard. Other kick variations, we get a point kick, which is kicking a round kick with the ball of the foot, to the meat of the thigh. A bark, which is a front kick to the shin with the ball of the foot. If you followed some of his earlier material, you'll also recognize purring kicks, sort of swing in and with the toes pointed outward and hit with the inside of the heel to the shin. And to add on to that, there's also the coup de pied bas, which is a kick from Savate, similar to the purring kick, except it aims more for the ankle. It can also be used as a sweep. I don't think that he covers that particularly in this. He also covers a few like thrusting and stomping kicks. This is where we get actually like the kicks to the hip, to push the guy away or to check his forward movement. And also, because the subject of this is not just for sport but also for street, he includes the field goal, which is a kick between the goalposts. I think you know what I'm talking about. Chapter 4 is on clinch kicks, and we get some of the other kicks that we've seen before, like the purring kick, but we also get things like chopping in with the heel, including like a crescent kick, like a traditional martial arts crescent kick, but hitting the thigh with the heel from a clinch. He'll also include, a few varieties of foot stomps and things to do after you've stomped the foot, like stomping on the foot and then pushing the guy in the hopes that falling action might injure the ankle. Chapter 5 is on cut kicks or kicks to the supporting leg when your opponent throws a kick. And this is actually when he, for the first time, I think, shows a traditional martial arts side kick. So if a guy throws a round kick, counter it by throwing a side kick at the opponent's support leg. Chapter 6 is on kicks from the rear clinch. So the opponent has gotten behind you and, gotten you in a waistlock or a bear hug. From here, he shows, like foot stomps and like little scooping kicks and things like that. I feel that this is more in the realm of self-defense than sport. The next two chapters, chapter 7 and 8, cover combinations. Chapter 7 is kicking combinations. And again, these are low kicks, so it would be like, switch kick, rear kick, things like that. And then chapter 8 is combining these low kicks with punches. Upper body tools, I think they're all punches unless I missed something. So, jab, low kick, jab cross, switch kick, stuff like that. Chapter 9 is sort of unique. It is the Axe Murderer series. He's named this after former Pride fighter Vanderlei Silva. In Pride fighting championships in Japan, they allowed kicks and stomps to the head of a downed opponent. So, this chapter is on kicks and stomps, not just to the head but also the body of a downed opponent. This includes the opponent being on all fours or on their back or side. It also includes a drill where you sprawl, then move off to the side so it opens up a kick to the head of the opponent who's trying to push themselves back to their feet. Chapters 10 through 14 are all on kick defense. I don't really feel like covering this individually, but they will cover a variety of defense, including stepping back and other evasions, stop kicks as the opponent is coming forward, to throw a kick. If they throw a low round kick, you throw a front kick to their body, for instance. That's one of the things that's in here. There's also just, shelling up. There's, scooping, deflections, and stuff like that. There's also what might fall into the realm of destructions. So if a low kick comes swinging in, you point your knee at the incoming kick, and they smash their shin against your knee. And that's sort of followed on by chapter 15, which is on pickoffs. And this is guiding a kick into, an elbow or smashing it across your knee. Obviously the idea is to counter round kicks. Throughout chapters 10 through 14, they are specifically against, here's a chapter on defending the low round kick, here's a chapter on defending middle and high thrust kicks and stuff like that. So you're getting quite a variety of kicking defense. Chapter 16 is on offensive defensive flow drills. So it's formatted in such a way. We don't really get any illustrations for it, but we do get a description of, okay, in round 1, your training partner, throws a low round kick. And you just do the defense, which is a step back. Round 2, he throws that low round kick and you step back, but now you counter with a kick of your own. That's the entirety of round 2. And this goes back to his training methodology. He prefers rounds over repetitions. So instead of going, I'll do 100 of these, you set the clock for, in these cases, 5 minutes, and just, okay, do this until the timer beeps. Just keep going. Chapter 17 is on leg conditioning, and this is both muscular conditioning, things like, doing squats and following that up with kicks, and also nerve conditioning. So, you and your partners throw on some shin pads and, gradually increasing the power, start kicking each other in the legs. And finally, the book finishes up with an index. I'm always a big fan of books that have either an index or a glossary. As far as the pros go, I like that these techniques can be applicable to both self-defense and sport. One might consider the Axe Murderer series less applicable these days. I also appreciate the general technique variety that we have going on. It would be easy to just stick to the Muay Thai style low round kick and call it a day. But I appreciate that he includes various thrust kicks and swinging kicks in there as well as the kicks from the clinch tie-ups. As always, I think he has a lot of good drilling ideas. It's not enough to show somebody a technique. There has to be a way to learn it, to incorporate it into what you're doing. So I think the drills in this will help out with that. And I gotta say, there's a bit of creativity going on. I would say specifically having an entire chapter on, kicking someone who has captured you in a rear body lock. I don't think I would have thought to have included that. So as far as the cons go, as I mentioned, the Axe Murderer series is a bit outdated. One championship still allows kicks to a downed opponent, but I think most MMA organizations in the world have generally moved away from that. And from a self-defense perspective, it's difficult to justify, the opponent was down and I was standing and I pursued the attack. And I know I've praised it for its creativity and variety, but in some ways, it's also a little bit repetitive. For instance, the entries into the various low round kicks. We do that for all the kicks on the right side, and then we do them for all the kicks on the left side. I get it. This also goes with, some of the combinations, especially the kicking combinations, feel a little bit repetitive to me. As far as recommendations go, I think if you compete under a rule set where you can throw kicks to the legs, this would be a decent reference title to have. I think some of the drills provide some good ideas. From a self-defense perspective, maybe some of the kicks in the clinch would be useful. I have to say the sprawl drill followed by a kick to the head, that is one of the few kicking a downed opponent instances that I think, preface this by saying I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, but I think I might be able to justify that in a court. Well, he had tried to take me down, I had stopped it, but there was nothing preventing him from continuing to attack. So I kicked him. I don't know how that would play out. I don't know. Again, this is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. But from a self-defense perspective, I can see how that might be more justifiable than some of the other, the guy's lying on his back, so I just stomped on his face. That doesn't seem particularly justifiable. So that drill might be something worth incorporating in a self-defense arsenal. Well, thank you for watching. If you guys would like to help out the channel, or if you would like to suggest a title for me to review, please consider donating to my Ko-fi account. The link to that will be in the description. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.